water.
So much fun can be had on a family houseboat trip. Boat, sand, water, it's the best. This summer in July, we drove from our home all the way to Sicamous, BC to enjoy a houseboat trip with my husband's extended family. The houseboat company we decided to use was Twin Anchors in Sicamous, BC. It's not the first time we've used this company. This is their new location. The last time we were here was 8 years ago, and the location has changed to a bright new space with tons of area and parking. It's easy to get overwhelmed with what to bring and what not to bring, and so since this is the second time we've done this as a family, I thought I'd take a moment and spend some time teaching you what you should and shouldn't take with you on your family houseboat trip. Here is the main parking lot where you wait in order to load your belongings onto those carts that are there. And then the employees drive the loaded carts down to your houseboat where you unload them and put them onto your houseboat. There's a lot of stuff that needs to come with you, and so this is quite the process. One of the first lessons we learned was to make sure that you've communicated well the time of your loading. You can go off, enjoy Sicamous and the things to do, and then you get notified and come back and then load the boat. We had 30 people to go on the houseboats, and so in 2023, with the larger size of people, we need to book the CruiseCraft 3, 2 of them, through the Twin Anchors website. Those sleep up to 22 people, are ideal for 6 couples or 4 families, but we found we needed that size of boat in order to accommodate the size of our now fully grown kids. You can steer it from the bottom and also from the top. And so on a gorgeous day like we had, it was just nice to be able to be up on the top deck and enjoy the cruising speed. And if you want to sleep, this was the view from Trevor and I's bedroom. The scenery around you is gorgeous. The water is awesome. I'll talk more about that as we continue on. Each night you need to find a spot to dock or beach an hour before sunset. And so it's important on the maps they give you to find the different locations where you can put your boat onto shore and sleep for the night.
How's the water, Ayla? We'll get there.
Another suggestion I have is meal planning. If you're going with a group, share the meal planning. Assign each person meals to look after for everyone and decide everything before you go. This is so you don't end up with duplicate meals and ingredients. Each night when we would come in to land, we would have our meal together as a family. We did our breakfast and lunch as individual families though. Another great tip is do not overpack. Trust me, you will pretty much live in the same outfit the whole time. I thought I went really light and there were still some things I didn't use. At the end of this video, I'm going to show you what I actually ended up not wearing. And this was all the clothing I brought in this one bag. That was it. In 2015, my husband put together an obstacle course, pretty much like the classical wipeout you see on TV, and built it for the kids to do. Well, this year, 8 years later, they want to do the same thing again. So we redesigned the course and had the kids give it a go. It was fun. They timed themselves and would do this course over and over again to see who was the quickest. Each night, we had a different activity for the kids to do as we were on shore. The water is so deep by the end of the boat because it drops off quickly that there was tons of water activities for everyone to enjoy and do, especially on the very hot weather that we had. It was plus 30 degrees Celsius every single day, and so the water was a much needed relief, and we lived in the water as much as we possibly could. Most of the boats now have docking stations for phones and iPods, so you can play your own music. Download whatever songs you want to listen to while you travel.
Holy Hannah.
The next day we traveled to Albas Falls. The water access you need to park at Steamboat Bay. But what greeted us was my nephew harpooning a fish that we ate for dinner that night along with the other meal that had been brought along. The hike up Albas Falls was beautiful. One of the reasons we had to climb to the top was my daughter was trying to open an email where she received her mission call. And this was everybody who climbed to the top of the falls in order to see the view, but also listen to her call. That night on the sandy shores, we had a huge fire, because you need a big one for 30 people to sit around it, and played some awesome family games that my niece had put together for us to enjoy. A few of the grandkids joined Grandma around the kitchen table to play some card games later on. We had another wonderful day of warm weather, and so we enjoyed it in the water. Another great tip is to assign a specific towel to each person so that everyone knows which is theirs. Both of our boats had hot tubs. This was the size, and every time it was being used, it was always packed. As the boats traveled around the lake, one thing that the kids loved to do was to ride behind the boats. No, it wasn't going very fast, but to get outside with your cousins and enjoy being together, they had tons of fun. Meanwhile, us ladies on the top deck definitely had a great time up there, got tons of sun's rays, and enjoyed some great conversation. I am grateful for the captains and the amount of driving that they had to do. The Twin Anchors asked that there are 2 captains so that they can take turns, and there was a lot of driving, and those boys did it all. At the beach this evening, the teenage boys found this boat with a hole in it and made it seaworthy again, and so we had some fun with it. This also included doing some races. This is me and my sister-in-law, same age as me, racing on our paddle boards. So while you watch this, I'm going to give you some other pointers. For bedding, fitted sheets are a must. The bed mattresses are vinyl and very slippery. You'll want to find a fitted sheet to cover it. Plus, if it's more comfortable being on a sheet versus plastic. We don't usually find the beds very comfortable, so you might want to consider bringing a memory foam. We didn't. We figure we're camping, and if you're too tired, we nap during the day. One great tip when it comes to packing your food is to freeze everything you can before you go. Pack it frozen solid. This really helps to prevent food waste. The fridges, no matter what their size, is not going to be enough to store all the food you need for the days that you're gone. So make sure you have extra coolers and lots of ice for your food. To keep space in your fridge for food, keep a separate cooler just for drinks.
Really, it's kind of team of 1 with 2 passengers.
The boats are supplied with water, so they do also supply you with a drinking water cooler, but we only drink water, and lots of it. So we actually brought 2 of the orange Gatorade style water coolers and drank all of that. So that was something that I would always suggest everyone, is to bring lots of water and cold water, because you will need it with especially how hot it is.
I'm not sure if that's a slow-moving vehicle or some rear-end interference.
The other thing that was a must for us to bring was the ice machine.
They negotiated with all the passengers.
You can buy ice, but there's no way you can keep it all cold enough with the limited freezer space that you have. And in your coolers, it's going to melt.
Carries ahead by 5/8 of a board length. Looks like they're hooked for judge's review. See if there's any interference here.
This was the final test of the boat that they had fixed, to see how many people they could put in it and it would still float. Anyways, it's amazing what you can do to entertain yourself when there are no TV screens, when there's no phone screens, and when everyone's just out there to have some good old-fashioned fun. These memories are priceless, and they will be there forever. When I'm camping, I'm one of the early risers, and I loved seeing the morning water just being so smooth. It was just a gorgeous way to wake up every morning. But I love water. That's just me. And this is the view you have each morning as you wake up. The lake is quiet, nobody's out, and it's a gorgeous view to behold. Leaving the shore each morning required a group effort of everybody standing in the back of the boat to give it enough weight so that we could leave from the sandy shore and head out into the deeper water. And there we say goodbye to the teal boat and the fond memories that we have with that. The view from the front of the boat as you're driving on the lower deck is pretty cool as well. Each boat has a barbecue on it where you can cook any of your meals, and a nice railing all the way around the front where we tend to keep all of our camp chairs there so we can pull them out on the shore each night. This is the view from our bedroom looking out as you're traveling along. Each houseboat is equipped with a generator that runs an air conditioning on the main floor of the houseboat, which works great while you're traveling in a forward motion. When the boat is stopped, the generator's exhaust may vent into the cabin of the boat. This will set off the CO2 alarm. For safety, the generator cannot run while the boat is parked for the night, which means the air conditioning cannot run. And if you need a CPAP machine, you require an alternative power source. The rest of the boaters may or may not notice the lack of the CPAP machine depending on how close their bed is to the snoring person's room. Notice in the top corner there will be a link to the review I did on the Jackery 240, which is what we use to run my husband's CPAP machine. In front of you right now you can see the 2 stores that Shuswap Lake has for customers to use. One has gas, the other one has food. Both of those are something that if you need to stop by and grab something, you're welcome to do so. Just be aware that the costs out there are going to be way more expensive than anywhere else. But it is sometimes fun to stop for some ice cream. But there are no restaurants and grocery stores accessible by boat along the shoreline. So it's best to be prepared when you arrive at the marina. So what's already on your houseboat? Well, each houseboat has an inventory list, and each class of boat has a slightly different inventory and features. So make sure that you know which boat that you're renting, and so you know what equipment is on each separate boat. Prior to departure, you also need to do an inventory sheet of all the things on your boat, and when you get back, they'll do the same inventory to make sure that all the items are still on the boat. What you've been watching is we stopped in the middle of the lake while traveling and took a dip in the water, which is great because you can do that whenever you'd like to. Just make sure you're aware of the other boaters in the area. Our final night of the stay, we decided to set up that obstacle course again. We let the young adult and teenagers put this one together, so it was a little bit more challenging for the kids to accomplish, but they still had tons of fun and we still timed them. My youngest nephew decided that this was going to be fun, to put as many life jackets on as he possibly could, and then to take a slide off the back of the boat and see how well he stayed afloat. He thought it was a success and had tons of fun. Took a moment to watch the sunset over the mountains on our final night there, and the view was to die for. The amazing part is we took a photo 8 years ago, and it was almost an identical image of what you see before you right now. And it brought back tons of fun memories of our trip 8 years ago, and getting to do this all over again was so worth it. Here we are leaving in the morning. The first boat pulled away from shore and we got a great view of their boat. And then we began to travel back in to dock our boat for the last stop. I said I was going to take you on a quick tour through the boat, so I guess we better do that. Starting at the very front of the boat, this is where the driver's seat is. There's a bar there. The hot tub up above is the highest deck that you can sit on while traveling. There are 2 bedrooms on this top floor and a staircase that goes down between the 2 of them. On the back here, you can sit and be a spotter and watch what's going on. There's a spiral staircase that goes down. Now at the very back of the boat, at the back door, there's another view of the boat. There's a gate there as well that you can keep locked at all times if you have little ones or pets that you need to keep on the boat and no risk of them falling off. Get to this point around the marina and the crew of Twin Anchors is going to drive out by boat and bring their captain out to drive you into the marina so that the boats are parked carefully and in the correct spot where they can be gassed up and also have the sewage pumped so that it's ready in a few hours for the next group of people to come on the exact same boat and take it out for their very own houseboat trip as well. Look at the different sizes of boats that you can enjoy. They go from really small to some huge boats. As we were beginning to unload the boats, they were already ready to pump the sewage. This is the first bathroom. You see a bedroom on the left-hand side. I'm going to turn to my right. This is the one room that had bunk beds in it. big enough you could actually put 2 people on it. There is the bedroom that Trevor and I stayed in. It was higher up because underneath of those there's actually some cubby holes underneath those beds where children are expected to sleep. Back to that first bedroom so you can get a little bit of a better view of that. Yes, this was all the stuff we needed to unload. Up the winding staircase, I'm going to show you a better view of the 2 bedrooms at the top. These 2 bedrooms are definitely the preferred rooms of the whole cabin. Last time we did this, we got to be up there, so this year we were down below. Here's the front area with all the stuff loaded. There's a long couch. Turning around, you see the kitchen area that you have to prepare your food and the dining table to sit at. You load those carts back up with all of your stuff, and then you find those land lakes again and get to walk past all these fun ship names. I'm just so thankful that we got to do this trip again with our kids. They loved every minute of it. Now, the fun part is although I packed extremely light, there were still a few things that I did not wear. A pair of shorts, a t-shirt, and my extra pair of sandals. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you'd like to see more content just like this.